All right. Test, test, test. Working here? All right, yeah, we're good. I can mute my own stream now, so I don't have to listen to my own voice. But you unfortunate souls have to. All right, let me change it over here. Oh wait, here, main. There we go. Hello everyone. My name's Ben. I'm one of the CCOs, and this week for our workshop, I wanted to do a little bit of the fun topics that CCDC, which I'll explain what it is, have done in the past over the past few years, and yeah, just what I want to go over today. Before we begin, for attendance and sign up for our email list, if you could please scan this QR code, be greatly appreciated so we can know who comes. It's kind of hard to track attendance in these times of virtual club meetings. So I'll give you a second here to scan that if you would please. Go. All right, and if anyone needs it, yeah, at the end, just ask me, and I can bring the slide back up. Also, the hands-on portion of the workshop today is a little bit more complicated, or a little bit more advanced than usual ones. So, yeah. So we're gonna. There's two ways we can do this. Start the CentOS version 7 download of an ISO right now. So maybe hopefully by the end of the workshop, we'll be all set and ready to go with a virtual box. To get ready to set up a virtual box, I should say. All right, here we go. What is CCDC? CCDC stands for the National Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition. There are about 9 regions. We are part of the Northeast region, making us part of the NECCDC community. Up to 12 competitors are allowed per team. I believe 8 of them are allowed to be part of the competition with some alternates and some other positions. Different stages of red versus blue team competition, such as qualifiers, regionals, and then to nationals. Only a few teams from each stage of the competition make it to the next. So by the end, it's usually a few, like 1 or 2 teams from each region against all the other 1 or 2 teams from each region. And UAlbany is actually going to regionals this month. Yay! So I think on the 19th, 2 weeks from today, actually. Last year, I do believe UAlbany placed second, or no, it was third in regionals, which is unfortunate because it's second place to advance to the next stage. Every year there's a theme or scenario for the competition. This year's theme is mobility, so being able to move around your infrastructure and like move it quickly and being able to navigate effectively is a big part of it. In it, it's a variety of operating systems, another processes and tasks and other assets that can be found that you have to defend or maintain and harden. A lot of the times you can find the common services that usually find or learn about in school, such as Active Directory or desktop, HTTP or web servers and firewalls. And fortunately, this year so far we have not had a firewall. Sorry, John. He was stuck on Windows. And sometimes there's a wild card that are given to teams. Most likely, one of these have experience in it before, which is mostly what this presentation is about, because it'll show topics that teams have had to defend and made harden in the past that most likely you haven't had experience with unless it was in a very specific circumstance. Yeah. Also, yeah, in the competition, you'll also be given some workstations that you can work on and remote into other boxes from, but you still are vulnerable. I wanted to throw that in there at the end because I forgot it. Yeah, rip John, right. Also, yeah, speaking of CCC, we have a documentary that our wonderful marketing officer, Mark Tretyak, made for last year, which is really interesting because it shows a great depiction of what was going on, the process of it, and with the COVID coming in and the entire decision-making process of that. So, just a quick plug for that. It's really cool. Highly recommend checking it out. All right, first thing, certificate authority. We saw this year. Uh, it's very cryptographically involved and helps identify unknown parties when they're trying to communicate with each other over a network or the internet. John also had to deal with this for qualifiers for the most recent competition this year for CCDC. So you had a lot of fun with that. No, we didn't. Basically, it's small data files that contain like credentials for your identity, so that if someone else on the internet is trying to contact you and establish a line of communication, and they don't know who you really are, they use a certificate authority, which is kind of like a third party, to establish that this is the person I'm talking to. They're trustworthy, and I can send them information and stuff. And a lot of times it'll use asymmetric encryption. You'll see that in the next slide what I mean by that. By using a public key and a private key, sending one of those to the certificate authority and receiving it back once they're confirmed as their identity. And so we'll go here. Yeah, as you can see, the applicant trying to find out who the identity is will send the identifying information and a public key, generate a certificate, which will go to the certificate authority, which will use their private key, which never actually gets sent to the applicant. They have their separate private keys. But once the identity can be established, they'll generate a signed certificate and send it back confirming identity, which is a really cool concept, which this is why I included it into this, because I thought it was really cool. Uh, oh, they're there. Oops. Certificate authority services can be configured on both Linux and Windows machines environments through Linux, OpenVPN, and Puppet. I believe last year OpenVPN was an issue for our CCDC team, but it never ended up actually getting used, which was upsetting for most people. And in Windows, there's Active Directory Certificate Services, which is a good Windows system function, which you can pull up. Basically, you can just look it up into your search bar, I'm pretty sure, and it'll show up. And you can kind of mess with it. Yeah, you can hear OpenVPN and Active Directory Certificate Services. Next, we have Hyper-V. John also was able to work with this, which actually he was working it with conjunction. It's basically a hardware virtualization product that makes it a lot easier to create and run a lot of virtual machines on one piece of hardware, computer, or server at one time. And it allows them to put in its own little isolated quarantine space so they can't, communicate with each other or, send malware back and forth, stuff like that. You can connect it if you want by networking it, but it's a good, nice, cool feature of it. Like we used to, create or grow your own cloud environment. So if you want to get into cloud, you can use this easily to deploy a lot of boxes in a cloud setting. You can easily make your business have a lot more uptime by using this because it allows it to be up more. And you can also grow your entire virtual desktop infrastructure. So either way, people make these competitions is through, virtual desktop infrastructure because we can't really do it in person nowadays. So that's the only really option. So that's also a really nice way to use it. And its portability and optimization was a great choice considering this year's theme, which was mobility, because it allows you to kind of set up an infrastructure wherever you need to in a decent amount of time. All right, and then last year as well, there was cloud, a lot of cloud stuff, and Amazon S3, which basically just stands for Amazon Simple Storage Services, which I'm assuming Tyler Blanco enjoyed a lot last year because our friend Tyler Blanco loved Amazon Web Services. Yeah, but a lot of times, a lot of services are hosted in the cloud in competition. They'll put their own little area on the side of the network topology where some of the services are in there, and you can't reach them from one of the boxes, which requires a little bit more effort to harden and maintain them. But it's means it's not connected to the main network really. Yeah, Amazon S3 is a storage service that has a lot of good scalability and availability and performance, which means you can grow it as high as you want. It'll be have a high uptime and it always works pretty great. You can house things from anything from websites to phone apps. So maybe you can make your own Flappy Bird game again, host it on an Amazon S3 server. Any backups for any servers or any other information that you need, and so many other things. As I said, it is very scalable. So any type of company or organization can use it. So that one web app, that one phone app developer working out of his garage, all by himself, and I don't know, making some sort of new game or dating app, can use it and have the same effectiveness as a massive company such as Oracle, which also use Amazon S3 for a lot of their backup and their cloud stuff. And actually, I found a really cool article here by Rhino Security Labs and how ransomware attacks can be thrown against it, which if you want to check that out, it's pretty cool. And then we have L.A.M.P servers, which I thought was one of my favorite subjects that I found. I believe this was last year and the year before. And oh, yes, Netflix was able to scale their services so quickly through AWS, which is a part of S3 is part of AWS. So it's a really cool thing. So massive companies like Netflix and Oracle use it, and then as I said, the one person in their garage can also use it and have the same effect. L.A.M.P servers, however, I thought were really cool. You're gonna be seeing a few moths from here on out, by the way, because I like making moth and lamp jokes. Haha. It's one of the most common examples of a web service stack, which is used to define, locate, and have web services interact and communicate with each other through like a website or something. It's made up of four components, which are all open source, which is Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP or Python. Uh, hence LAMP. A LAMP server can be combined with a lot of other software, such as I have here, net sniffing, which is for security and hardening tests, intrusion detection and prevention systems. So if you're in one of Kaseka's classes, you'll be hearing that a lot, which is also cool. She might talk about it this year, but probably not because it's not that much of a known thing. They usually have the one good thing about LAMP servers, they have a high availability and and have a good load balancing, which means they can handle a large amount of requests while also having a high uptime. Or you can focus on one or the other, having a high uptime but not many requests, but a lot of even more requests and not in like okay uptime. And then we come to WAMP and WIMP servers, which is the Windows versions of these servers. In two different ways. There's a WAMP server and a WIMP server. WAMP server contains the Apache web server, OpenSSL, and MySQL and PHP. It's basically the same thing, but the W stands for Windows for the operating system. And then a WIMP server is very similar to the WAMP server, but it replaces the Apache web server with Windows IIS, which is Windows Internet Information Services, which is actually what I was handling this year for CCC, along with the workstation boxes, which basically IIS is most commonly used for to host web applications and static websites, and allows you to do a lot of logging and a lot of cool other stuff. A few years ago, back in 2017, when I first started college, uh, there wasn't. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 2017, when I first started college, the competition involved a e-commerce site, e-commerce box, which I thought was really cool because I think the theme with that was business and something like that. But it was really cool. I thought it was a cool kind of a aspect to the security competition. Securing some sort of e-commerce site, which is basically CentOS. CentOS in the first place is a free open source software, which is community driven, based on a Linux platform that can do a lot of things, anything from a single task to a wide array if set up right. It uses the modern version of can actually sorry, I'm having a little word vomit, but the modern versions of CentOS can use Docker Kubernetes, which is a really nice thing. And in 2017, 2018, they had their e-commerce boxes for securing them for the business themes, and able to install these e-commerce platforms on a LAMP server, which we just talked about, which we'll get into a little bit later with the hands-on because that's a cool thing I made. And lots of sites use these kind of platforms, such as eBay, Snapdeal, and Flipkart. They all started out, well, a lot of them still, some of them still do, but a lot of them started out on these kind of platforms because they're easy to set up relatively, and they have good reliability. And then one of the last topics I have here for us today is Mine EDMS, which appeared this year on Linux. Tyler Ritchie's absolute favorite thing he got to do this semester so far. And its main purpose is a document management system. And there we go. And it stores and categorizes a lot of files, which with on the categorization of business information and documents. Also has a great workflow system and a role-based access control if that's the kind of version you have. And the easiest way to utilize this is by using the official Docker image for it on the website. And it's actually, fun fact, it started as a PDF storage file system for government agencies that were transitioning to an all-in-all electronic system. Yeah, Tyler, you weren't really happy about that, were you? Sorry. But that brings it to my the little topics that we had there. I'm just gonna get the majority of this workshop is going to be the hands-on portion since it's a little bit more difficult, and I wanted to leave more time for that in case anybody wanted help with it. But part of shadowing, I still believe we still do need people to shadow for report positions because a lot of us are leaving, almost more than half of us are because we're graduating. So if you want to go on competitions, be part of this great community, get more involved, you can scan that code there, apply for it. Highly recommend it. I did it last year. It was a fun time. Unfortunately, COVID kind of came in and plowed it all through, but it's only going to get better with UAlbany going back to all most in-person classes next year. so everyone will be more, talking to each other. Everyone will be a lot more safe. So definitely recommend that. Next week we're gonna have another workshop at 3. I forget what workshop that is. Tyler, do you know if it's off the top of your head in the chat? No, that's fine. But yeah, we also have Red Team, yeah, Active Directory next week by Colin, I think. So that's gonna be fun. Red Team meetings are still tentatively bi-weekly, Tuesdays at 7. So they'll make an announcement in Discord. Keep an eye on our Discord. Make sure if you want to attend these Red Team meetings. And then Blue Team practices, we still have Blue Team practices on Wednesdays at 7. So if you want to get involved in CCDC and competitions like it, definitely come to Brew practice because it'll show the captains that you want to get involved, learn, and take part in these competitions. Also, I'm going to plug the Competitive Cyber Clubs Discord, which is basically just a national Discord server full of clubs like us who form teams and send them to these cyber defense competitions. And it's a great way to get involved and talk to other people from different regions and see what they do. It's just a nice, cool collaboration of minds. So I'll leave that code up there for a second. And again, if anyone wants to scan the codes from any of the earlier slides, just let me know in the chat and I'll put it back. But I believe, yep. So we're gonna be doing a e-commerce. We're actually gonna set up a e-commerce site on a L.A.M.P server today as part of the interactive portion of the workshop. So if you guys hang around, and I'll post the instructions in the workshop chat on the Discord if you want to do that, and I'll be in the chat to help out any people that need help. But other than that, add us on our socials. UAlbany CDO, UAlbany CDO, UAcyber.org, and I do believe, do we have how are we doing this? Oh yeah, you have to, in order to get into our Discord, you have to sign up for the email link because some of our first digital presentations, we had a lot of trolls and they were saying not so nice things about people. So we don't really give out the Discord anymore. So if you want the Discord link, please sign up for the mail list and you'll get that pretty soon. But I believe that is it. I'll leave this up here for a bit, but I'm going to head over to the workshop chat, and if anyone wants help with it, I'll be glad to help them out.